Over the summer, I did a reading vlog reading Sara Carrolli's 5-star reads, and I've been wanting to do that with more booktubers. Ever since doing that very fun video, I wanted to do more, so I did research, and from these first 2 books, you can probably tell who we're doing. And if you haven't guessed it by those 2 books, these last 2, I think will give it away. They're both by Sarah J.Maas, Throne of Glass, and A Court of Thorns and Roses. So, if you haven't guessed, it is Destiny Sidwell. Did you get it right? We are reading Destiny Sidwell's 5-star reads. Before we get into what the books actually are, or you saw them, I want to do this as like a series, and I think I said it in when I did the Sara Carrolli one, but I want to start doing, I want this series where I read more Booktubers 5-star reads. So, yeah. So we're doing Destiny's in this one. So we got Happy Place by Emily Henry. Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J.Maas. Throne of Glass by Sarah J.Maas, and Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So what I think I really want to do is start off with Happy Place by Emily Henry. We're going to go ahead and just start off with this book. I just finished Happy Place by Emily Henry, and what I want to say is I gave it a 2 star. I did not really enjoy it, which I'm really sad because I did read Beach Read and I love Beach Read. And I really do hope that one of these days, maybe over the summer, I can give this book another chance. I was really disappointed that I didn't like it. I don't know why I didn't. I don't think I was in the mood for it. I think I was in the mood for like a fantasy, which is great because our next one is going to be Throne of Glass by Sarah J.Maas. That was like a run. And I'm really excited. I did read The Assassin's Blade by her first because that's what everyone told me to do, and so I did it. And I want to and I can't wait to see what this book is about and just kind of continuing on the story. Yeah, and I also do hope that I do want to give this book another chance because I really was sad that I didn't really like it. So I just reached page 104, chapter 14, and I thought that I would give you like a review or kind of my thoughts right at this point. I just reached page 104 in the Throne of Glass, and I really am enjoying Throne of Glass so far. I really do like it, and I do like my decision on reading The Assassin's Blade first in the series. If you don't know, there is this Assassin's Blade is collection of 5 novellas that people say to read before you read the series or in the middle, like as I think the 3rd or 4th book in the series. So I read the first book because that's kind of how I was recommended to it. Everyone said like read the first book and stuff like that, and I would recommend reading it as the first book because you have so much more information, you have more back information, and not only do you have like background information, you also you go into this book and understanding more of what's going on and not just like what's not going on. So yeah. That is what we are at. That's where I am at right now in the series. In the book. I am going to read more of this book. So yeah. reading Throne of Glass, as you may know, and to be honest with you, it has been quite some time since I've actually like updated you guys on Throne of Glass, because the last time I updated you was like 3 months ago. Here's the issue. It has taken me about 3 months to get through this book. I'm right now on page 302, and I have this much left. My goal is that tomorrow, sometime this week, I can at least finish this book, because and here's the thing, I'm not saying that it's bad. It really is a good book, and when I do read it, I read it in like chunks. But the problem is I was trying to also finish off Keeper Lost Cities while reading this book. So I was doing multiple videos at once, which is not really the best thing to do, but I was. And again, like I said, I love this book. I really do. Like, I think the story, her writing is so good. Like, when people say that Sarah J.Maas has like beautiful, like lyrical kind of writing, it really is beautiful and lyrical, all this other stuff. And I think it is so good, and how she's able to create the story and these lines, it's really cool. I love it so much. But I do also have to say, though, is that I'm going to recommend, I did read, if you guys know, I did read Assassin's Blade before I even read this book, and I'm going to recommend that to you, because there's been times where you are told things that are happening from that book. And I do recommend reading Assassin's Blade before going into Throne of Glass, because it really does give you the background information of the story and giving you that information. And I think that really is amazing. And again, you just get, because there's some things that pop up and you're like, I remember when that happened. Oh, I remember why she's so sad about this particular thing, or something like that. And I do have to say, I really do love it. But my really goal is to finish it up at least by the end of this month, which is March. So yeah, this video really might not be going up until like April, maybe even May, because it's taking me a really long time to get through this particular book. But that's okay, because I do also really want to, okay, this is not really weird, but it's like I also want to say I dissect it. And I do have to say, I do really love this world, and I love being in this world and immersed. And I really do say, like, I have read fantasy before, but this truly is my first true fantasy that I think I've actually read, to where there's actual like politics, magic. And I'm not saying that like it actually, because yes, Harry Potter had magic, and yes, Keeper Lost Cities had magic and politics and all that stuff, but I do feel like this one is a true, like, but this is really like a young adult, and like Harry Potter is considered, like, yeah, Harry Potter is young adult, but like it's considered kids. I just went on a complete yap session there. Okay. God. I don't even know. I am so tired, but I do want to at least finish this book at least by some time this week. And I hope that can at least be possible. So, I will keep you guys updated on it. And I do also have to say is, so my mom has been watching my old Disney vlogs, and one thing that I've noticed when I watch those is that I say so and yeah, like so yeah, or okay, or this. Like I say so, yeah, and okay a lot. What you have to say is, I don't know if it's annoying, but it's like annoying to me, because again, what you say and what you do is like annoying to you. Like some things are very, very annoying to you sometimes, and it's kind of interesting. But I don't know, I say so a lot. And I wonder, how can I get feedback that my dad will allow? Because I don't have comments. I'll figure it out. Because if you have, I'm just saying, I just wanted to like wonder if that like annoys you guys. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Because I just said so again. Oh my god. Trying to stop it. Okay. But I will continue on with this book and all that stuff, because yeah. Anyway, that is it
for right now, and we'll go and at least continue on with this series, or I mean with this book, because I want. Because again, like I said, it is a good book. It's just, for me, it takes a lot of time to like digest it. That sounds so wrong. But like, it just reading it, and there's like so much like world that you have to like understand, and there's so much you have to understand. But I still love it so much. So that is right now it, and I'll see you guys later. Hopefully when I finish this book. Finally finished Throne of Glass after 3 months of reading this book, and I'm gonna say this. Doesn't mean it took me 3 months to read it, doesn't mean it was a bad book. This book was a really good book. When I did read it, I did enjoy it. I was also on top of that reading like other books in between. So of course I didn't really binge this book all the way through. If I did, fine. I do also have to say is this book really was a really good book. When people say that Sarah J.Maas has really good, beautiful lyrical writing, I do have to say she really does. Like, her writing is beautiful, and it's so good, and all of this stuff. And I do think that this is definitely would be and is going to be a good series, especially if they say that as the series progresses, it's completely better. It gets so good. And I just loved this so much. I love these. I did love the characters. I love Selena. But I do have to say is I'm actually like, I think my favorite, like I think okay, again, I've only read 2 books of the series. So, it might change. But I do have to say my book boyfriend right now is Dorian. Like, he is really, like, he's like a good guy. Like, he seems like to be like a really good person, and he truly loves Selena, and you can tell that Selena loves him. I would also have to say is here is kind of like some of the synopsis that doesn't give spoilers to it. So Throne of Glass is about this girl named Selena Sarathian who is an assassin, and that's what the entire series, and she is the main character, and she comes and is doing tests because she is competing to be the king's assassin for 4 years, and that's how I'm just gonna leave it at that. So much stuff really does happen in this book that is shocking, that is just a lot of things. And I do have to really say is this book definitely you do learn a lot of world stuff, and I do have to say that is really all I have to say is I really love this book so much. I will give this book a 4 stars. This book was so good, and I definitely have to say is I cannot wait to read the next book, which is Crown of Midnight. And I probably have said this before in this video, but I do have to say, if you are wanting to read Throne of Glass series and you don't know if you should start off with the Assassin's Blade, because it's a really controversial thing where you either read the Assassin's Blade first or you read it as, I think, the 3rd book in the series. I think that's how they say. But I would recommend reading it first because that's how everyone recommended to me. And to be honest with you, you read it first, you get so much more background information to where you're already connected to the characters, you already love the characters, and there's so much stuff that happens. There's stuff that happens in that book that is mentioned in here, and it really truly is a continuation. So Assassin's Blade is a continuation of this, and the Assassin's Blade really isn't like a book. It's just 4 or 5. It's a couple. There's novellas in the book, so it's a novella, and then these ones are like the actual books with it. And I do have to say, like I said, I love this book so much, and yeah, and I kind of wish I saved Happy Place for like next, but I didn't. And the next book we are going to read in this video is, I did not get it, let me go get it right now, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This book, if you don't know, broke the internet last year and all this other stuff. And yeah, so we'll see. And this is about dragons, which I don't think I've ever read a book about like dragons before, or like that was solely based on dragons, stuff like that. So I hope that this is a good fantasy world and everyone just loves this book, and I cannot wait to read it. And I just can't wait. The issue is I can't wait to read this because I can't wait to see what the hype's about, if it does live up to the hype that everyone says it does. So hopefully it does, and hopefully we can... Hopefully, I love this book so much. And I also, one that's really cool, it has a map to it. But I really cannot read books or like hardcovers with the sleeve off, so I'm going to take it off and read this book. So I'm so excited. I am 55 pages and on chapter 5 of Fourth Wing, and my first impressions are okay. My first impressions are I really am actually liking this book so far. So what's happening is actually how did I do? Okay, yeah. My first impressions, I really do like it. I think it's a good book. And so yeah. Okay. So we are my first impressions are that I do like this book so far. It has really been good. And I do also have to say I do like the little like quotes at the beginning of each chapter. And not only that, just kind of like going through, because there's already been one like big scene that's really cool and exciting. And I'm just really happy to like be reading this book and stuff. And just, yeah, it's really cool, really exciting. And I just can't wait to get further into it. And I'm just going to go on and continue reading more. I got this little craft thing, as you can see, from my aunt for my birthday. And I'm doing it, but while I'm doing it, I'm listening to the audiobook of A Court of Thorns and Roses. And right now, I've listened to chapter 8, page 75. And so far, it's really interesting, and I've actually, because sometimes with audiobooks, especially when I first like listen to them in the beginning, and you're not really that into the story, I don't really my mind wanders and it doesn't really stay on the story, but my mind I have been listening to the story, I know what's going on, and I think it's really cool. So right now we have Feyre, who is, lives in this world where she basically is a hunter. And I think it's funny how like either the oldest or the youngest in fantasy books, from what I've read, is always the hunter, and they're never like, and it's never like the middle, but she's a hunter for her family. She's the one that provides food and stuff like that. They also, I mean, her family was pretty rich and pretty wealthy and off, but then they just lost all their money, and now that they, just have to do that. But she did something that she could do in her world, but if they find you, then, so she killed something, and if this particular creature finds you, you get taken. So she's been taken. Not dropping nowhere. Alrighty, so I am right now on page 207 of Fourth Wing. And I want to say that I think Fourth Wing is okay. It's definitely not, the best, and I don't think for me, it's not what people were raving about, but I also do really think, maybe also because I also had a very high expectation for this book, and it didn't, come out to be that expectation. It's not really something, like, I'm enjoying it, but it's definitely something that I'm not really, to me, I don't think it's going to be a 4-star. I think it's probably going to be in that 3-star range right now. I mean, even though I'm like not even halfway through. Anyway, but I'm also, what's going to happen? What am I talking about? So what just happened is Violet just got into the session on where the dragons pick you, She's now technically a writer. And again, like every single fantasy book, she defeated the odds of everyone, which I think is cool. I think it's okay that they do that, but it is kind of annoying. Also, for my Taylor Swift bookmark for this, because I got these bookmarks for graduation, I have folklore. So I did that because it's a fantasy. So I have folklore and evermore. Anyway, I think it's okay. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, so that is where I'm at, and I'm going to go on and continue to read more of the book. Last night I finished off with Fourth Ring by Rebecca Yarros. I do have to say, before I do my review, I do see the hype of this book, but it just wasn't for me. I gave this book a 3-star. The reason why is I think it was a good book, it was a good fantasy, and I liked the dragon aspect, I like kind of the rider aspect of it, and I liked really the dragon part of it. I did, however, not really care for the romance, and that was a good chunk of it, because every story does need a romance, but the romance was a good chunk of the story. And I do say, I think it was like, okay, I would definitely go on and read Iron Flame, which is the next book in this series. I do not know how many more books are going to be coming out in the series, because right now there's the 2 out, and then there's a 3rd coming, I think, later on this year. But yes, I did finish with this book, and I would recommend this book to people who care for, if you want a fantasy book, but if you like romance, then read this. I would say if you're someone who likes fantasy, I would say it might be for you, but it may not. But I would definitely say if you definitely are a romance reader, this definitely will be a book for you. Alrighty. The next book we are going to read, and I did start this and I did tell you guys a little bit about it. I'm actually on chapter 13, page 11 and 12, not 11 and 12, what? 112, and it is ACOTAR by Sarah J.Maas. I actually, number one, I did not know, and I did not know why they call this book ACOTAR, but just to let you, but if you're confusing me, so ACOTAR, ACOTAR, and then that's, I think, where if you do that with all the other books, that's where ACOMOF and the ACO War come in. Anyway, I did not know that. But I do have to say right now it is actually good. I really am enjoying it. Even though I am like 100 pages in, I'm still enjoying it. I still think it is a really good book to that extent. I would have to say. I mean, I also do, this isn't also my first book that I read by Sarah J.Maas. I mean, earlier on in this video, I read Thin Glass, and then before that, I read The Assassin's Blade. So I do know about Sarah J.Maas writing, and I have liked those 2 books I read by her. I think I've given both of those 2 books a 4-star. And I mean, again, that is where we are at right now. I'm going to go ahead and continue on reading this book, and this is going to be our last book for the video. Alright, I finished off last night A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J.Maas. Here's the thing. I would definitely say I would give this book a 3.75 stars. I would continue on the series, but I would I would say I'd actually read Throne of Glass first and finish off that series, because I seem to like Throne of Glass more than I do this book. I would definitely say it was an okay book. Yeah, and I do want to read more of her books. Like I said, I want to continue on this series. I do want to read Crescent City, but I do have to say I'll probably wait until I finish off Throne of Glass. Yeah, and I do like Sarah J.Maas. I do have to say she would probably be an author that I would buy. I don't know if I would say she's like my favorite author. I did read 2 of her books. So cool that I got introduced to Sarah J.Maas in this video, so thank you, Destiny. Alright, because I'm at my grandma's house, I only brought 2 of the 4 books that I read in this video, so yeah, we'll just kind of explain what we read. First book we read was Happy Place by Emily Henry. I liked Emily Henry when I read Beach Read, but this book I don't think was for me. Happy Place was definitely one of those books to where she got kind of annoying, to where Harriet, the main character, got annoying. And I think I probably explained this, but she was kind of annoying, always needed to go to her happy place. So I did give Happy Place a 2-star. Then we have Throne of Glass, which I read, and I gave that one a 4-star. I loved it. Again, I also did read Assassin's Blade, and I am not that far into the series, but I do think from what everyone said, that is the way to go, is to read Assassin's Blade first. Then I read Fourth Ring by Rebecca Yarros. This one is a 3-star. Again, I would recommend it to people who like romance. And then I think if you want to get into fantasy and you are a romance reader, this book's for you, because it has so much more romance than fantasy. And then we have Throne of Glass, and not Throne of Glass. So we have A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J.Maas, another Sarah J.Maas book, and then I just gave this book a 3.75. I would recommend, and this is it for reading Destiny Sidwell's 5-star reads. I can do a part 2 to Destiny Sidwell. I do also am hoping to do way more Booktubers. I've already done Sara Carrolli, which I'll link in the description below, but because that one was a flop, I want to try to see if I can do another Sara Carrolli. And then also I want to do Haley Pham, and I have all those books for this, so hopefully we can do Haley Pham next as well, and hopefully, like I said, we can get this into like a little bit of a series reading Booktubers 5-star reads. That is it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please have a good night, good day, wherever you are, and goodbye.